This is going to make you feel things you don't want to feel, but you need to know. If you can't handle losing, then you can't play the game. CC Jefferson Griffin and any other Republican in the state of North Carolina that's trying to prevent this woman from taking the office that she rightfully won. Let me get his face up here so we can talk to him in person. Sir, you lost. You lost. Because what do you mean you're trying to contest a race from November? Sir, you lost. Take it like a woman. Stop trying to cheat. This is gonna make you feel things you don't want to feel, but you need to know, because everybody needs to know about this. If you don't like what I have to say here, you should definitely tell a politician about it. Our story begins back in November in North Carolina when the incumbent, Alison Riggs, wins by like 700 some odd ballots. It's really hard that I can't say certain words on this app. You know what? Fuck it, votes. She wins by like 700 some odd votes. But this dude, Jefferson Griffin, can't make that up, is like, no, I was supposed to win. I'm mad. I'm going to challenge it and waste lots of taxpayer dollars because we can't afford to not win this seat, because then we can't gerrymander the fuck out of states. If we don't have judges that are going to bend the rule for Republicans, how else can we prosper in this country? I said it. So this jackass is like, I'm going to challenge the ballots of constituents in 4 different counties, and all of those counties just happen to lean Democrat. Just these 4 that lean Democratic that I think maybe I could get some of those ballots tossed out and then I can win. Like, that's not fair, but I just be the winner. That's what Jefferson Griffin is thinking. So Jefferson Griffin is like, I just want to throw out these 65,000 ballots. If I can get those tossed out, then I will probably win. And the North Carolina Supreme Court justices, who are colleagues of this woman, are like, sure, we're going to help you get that incumbent, our colleague, thrown off the bench. Let's do it. But you got to include 60,000 of those. We can't toss those. So sorry. But what we can do is the other 5,000 who are overseas voters, like military voters, we can invalidate those if they don't have a picture with their ballot, even though the state is the one that put the online portal together, didn't ask for a picture, and had no place for them to upload a picture. Even though that is the case, we're going to go ahead and take those 5,000 and we're going to pull those. In the meantime, they're going to block the state from certifying her as the winner. Anything they can do to prevent a Democrat from taking office, the Republicans are going to do. Because if they can't win, they will cheat. Here's the absolute bananas part about this. Somehow, in the most convoluted way possible, the Republicans have managed to violate case law that they themselves set into play in 2000 with the contest between Bush and Gore. But because rules don't apply when they want to win something, they're conveniently trying to ignore that this is a thing. There's actually two cases that we're talking about. In Griffin v. Burns, 1978, no relation, the Supreme Court ruled that states can't just retroactively change their election laws. You can't just decide after somebody won that you don't want to win that suddenly you have new rules. Can't do that. That's not allowed. Seems like common sense, and it's weird that we had to say that. The second one is Bush v. Gore, because Gore just wanted to do a few recounts in certain areas where he felt like the results didn't look quite right. And the Supreme Court's like, no, you can't do that. You either look at everything or you look at nothing. In other words, you can't go to these 4 Democratic-leaning counties in North Carolina and request that they have pictures with their ballots if you don't do that for every other voter that's abroad. And to any Republican that wants to come screaming into my comments section, we have no problem making sure that these are fair races. We all want them to be fair. But part of that is not changing the rules after the game has already been played. And part of that is not applying the rules only to certain players of the game and not others. That's also not fair. Again, it's weird that I have to explain this. So now we're waiting on a decision from the Court of Appeals that's going to be announced on Tuesday, tomorrow, or today, or last week, depending on when you're watching this, to determine whether they can decertify those ballots, whether they can force those people that completed those ballots to submit a photo, and then if not, just throw them out. And whether that will be enough to push Griffin into the lead ahead of the Democratic winner, Alison Riggs. What a mess. And also embarrassing. Like, just the behavior of Republicans here is so gross, so entitled, so embarrassing. Genuinely don't understand why people are affiliating with this party at this point. I mean, you clearly see that they're cheating, right?